There's Fraggy, and also you see no timer means also very there's not much likeliness of playing a Widow, for example, here, because if you play Widow, you want usually a Tracer, and if you want a Tracer Widow, you probably want a Winston as well. And Fraggy is known for his Reinhardt, and it's also pretty good meta right now for Reinhardt. So that's why they pick the. Let me clear this. That's why they picked Sombra and Doomfist here. And also, it's enabling Guju, or Guju, I think that's how the name is pronounced, to just basically be the damage dealer that he is, known for. And with the Discord as well, and Anna, they can play pretty far back without having to fight in the choke and challenge the tanks. So the thing with the Symmetra is just like in rank, you wanna go to point. Actually, so it's pretty one-dimensional here. They go to point, they fight on point, and on point they can't really do much against. China can't really do much against Team Finland because they can't really kite, they can't play corners, etc. Then going to the last point here, if we pause and look here at the ultimates. Okay, there we go. So if we look here, they switched from Sombra to Mei because Sombra won't really have any impact right there, and they want to stop the snowball. So what does Finland have? If we look from the perspective of China right now, they spread out all angles because they want to scout. That's pretty much why they spread out so much. And they know that the fight was pretty quick, since it's 7 minutes here. And because there's a quick fight, means that pretty much no one has any ult on Finland, which means that Mei and Doomfist is pretty much gonna be easy counters for an attempt to snowball without ults, because the basic abilities beat Finland's basic abilities with Symmetra and so on. And there's not much Finland can do here with the comp they have. It's pretty awkward with Winston, D.Va, and Zarya. And so Finland, they can press shift. They know that they have a Mei. And if we go back here. Yeah, I accidentally bound the buttons wrong, but if we go back here and just gonna see if they scout the Mei up here. So if we go to Fraggy's perspective. Okay, so they have no idea that Mei is up here. Unless they see the icicles shooting down, but I doubt it. All they know is that they can't really push into main, so since they are in main already, they can't really back out and waste time, so they go down here, and then they rotate a point, basically. So if we go back here a bit. Okay, so the reason Goju jumps up is because he just doesn't want to take damage, and they can't really do much here. So Zappis is matrixing for the Diva and, well, primarily he's matrixing for the Discord and damage from Zen. There's not much else. There's a Mei jumping down, that's not really that much of a thing to care about. China did really have much more than the Ana to matrix in this case, and you know, you can matrix a Mei ult, but that's not really any big deal. And a Diva is supposed to help the Winston, of course, as well. And so Linkster is on Tracer now, but the awkward pick is the Zarya here, because the Zarya can go to a different DPS instead, and Davin should be on the Tracer instead of Linkster. But it's not like a 100% you know, decision should be on Tracer, because you still want to have something to combo with a bomb band. He had 55% charge or something, 60. Well, it's at 60 now, so they might as well keep the Zarya. However, they want to do a wall here. They do the wall, and the wall comes up as soon as, let's see here. I think they only wanted to do the wall to give Doomfist easy picks. And once they had the pick, it's pretty much a lost fight for Finland. They wanna reset as soon as possible. And okay, so Link's a switch from Tracer to Brigitte, and the reason for that is because they don't really need the damage from Tracer, because if you look here, oops, there we go. So if you look here, everyone on Team China has ult almost, and if he would have stayed on Tracer, he wouldn't be able to kill. He can't really secure a kill on Ana unless he flanks, but if he flanks, then they lack damage on Team Finland, and they can't really use the bomb anyways. I mean the grab if he flanks. And the way he could flank would be, so if we position from outside, and if you're playing Tracer, the way you can position, there we go. So normally you go high ground here with any hero, but if you want to play Tracer on with dive, for example, you want to go coast, because you want to take control of the high ground here. And also, if we go back in game here, from this perspective, because normally you see Ana play here or Zen here, and then let's make it like this actually. Yeah, sorry about the controls here. It's a bit it's a bit difficult at first. Okay, so let's see if I get it. Okay, there we go. So normally you want to play Tracer from coast, like I showed on the outside. You go up here, or you go here and then try and get a kill on an Ana, which is typically wow, that's pretty bad. Okay, there, Ana. So Ana is usually in the corner here, because Zen is in stairs, because he can get easy discords, and if he needs to trans, he can easily trans up the stairs to the plateau, or he can go to point, basically, if, wherever the fight is. And if he comes with trans here, he can drop down here, he can drop the point, or he can go straight to point. While Ana, she can just go to spawn, basically. However, since Link's is switched to Brig, it means that they want to protect Fraggy and Zappis and also play with the Grav. And they look for more than 2 to 3 people in the Grav, because of the damage that Brigitte makes and all it does, and also the healing she does. So they used the wall here, but they didn't really wall anything. If we go back and look. So they are pretty sure that since you, if you make some attention, or like give some attention to the sound of the speed, you can make the assumption that everyone in Team Finland knew about the wall and they didn't want to get walled together. So that's why we didn't see anyone walled. It's not that Crystal played bad, because Crystal did a good setup here. He did his job, and it's just Finland being more coordinated. However, because they used the grab, it doesn't really matter. They will still get killed because of Leaf's ult. A ton of damage that they can't really do anything about. And I'm pretty sure they want to... I haven't watched this game before, by the way, so... Yeah, it makes sense that they use the grab there because they want to switch from Linkser on Brig to Davin on Brig instead. And honestly, this is a switch that they should have made on the first push, because on the first push they switched Fraggy from Reinhardt to Winston. And in the same go, they could have switched Linkser and Davin, because it was an awkward comp and they pushed 2 times with it. So Leaf got picked out. Let's see here. Yeah, he's discarded, picked. Can't really do anything. Used his escapes and stayed too long. Moving up, Guju is waiting here because he's waiting because since the Doomfist is dead, they don't really want to engage on anything. They don't gain anything from engaging, and since Finland isn't able to get any progress on the point because of Late Young here, let's just pick a better angle. So if we take this angle from here, Late Young is positioning himself so that, or actually make it like this. He's positioning himself almost perfectly for Shaz to not be able to discord him. And by not being able to discord the D.Va, they either have to use D.Va boost to boop. Let's see here. They either have to use Zappis D.Va boost to boop the D.Va, and then Shaz can discord Late Young. And when Late Young is discorded, that's when they can all in on point. But because they can't see anyone from Shaz, or from Shaz's perspective, more than Sky, for example, there's no usage for Linkser to be on McCree, basically, or to be on high ground even. Normally you want McCree on this side, or up here, because of Deadeye, pretty easy. And you want to protect the Zen up here. However, Davin is... he's not doing much, but it's not that he's doing... it's not a useless location for Davin, because he's stopping Guju from basically going all in on Big Goose or Shaz. So let's play this. Guju's just waiting for a good opportunity once Leaf is back. You see, now that he gets an open opportunity to go in, he goes in, does his job. They can't get any cap on point either.
It's high noon.
This is a bit scrappy from China, because they, if we back up, they end up using, let's see here. So Leaves comes out, and he doesn't do anything effective on point if we pause here. So if he would go up the stairs, he could help Winston and also Late Young that goes up here. I think it's Late Young. And you still have the, let's see here, you still have trends from Evil Tull. Yeah, I think it's Evil Tull. So if he would go on point, he would be able to fight with Monkey and Diva, but I think the reason for him going on point was because they wanted to stop the capping basically and not get a tick.
Pass into the iris.
However, because they chose to not get a tick, give a tick, I mean, it caused the Winston and Diva to basically waste the Nano, the Primal, and also the Bomb. And they still get a tick. And now they basically have to play not to lose, instead of playing to win.
It's high noon.
Yeah, Devin had grab, but no, he didn't have grab. He was around 50% from first fight. Sorry, I saw the message just now. I'm gonna put up a chat on my phone actually. So, Devin had grab after 2 fights, and first fight he should have switched. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Oikol. Sorry if I pronounced the names wrong, by the way. Grab was pretty useless because there was no real combo with it, and they just had to make the best out of it.
Ready for battle. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So, let's look at Finland's comp here. They know that China wants to be aggro. That's just the general playstyle of China usually. Both in League of Legends, Walker 3, in Dota, you name it basically. China plays very aggro. So they don't really expect goats from them. And if... I don't know why they choose to pick Sombra Doomfist here. If they wouldn't have played it last round, for example. Maybe they actually expect China to play goats on attack here, since it's anti-goats.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm not really sure why they have Doomfist Sombra here. And China, they pick Genji and Sombra, so they basically play on Blade plus EMP with Nano. And with the Lucio, they don't want to play back, instead they want aggro. They're just farming Blade, pretty standard. So, Leave is behind. He could scout them out. Wait, let's see. Going to his... Yeah, so Leave scouts out the backline. He makes the call to Goju. They try and get a kill. Ends up not being a kill, but that's no big deal. They mainly want to farm up Nano and Blade here, since Nano and Blade is automatically a win in most cases. If we just want to go back here. So at this moment, Finland is up one person. Let's see if I can mute the sound. No, I can't actually. Okay, there we go. So China is one person down, but they still stay in the fight because they feel like they can get something out of it. They have nano up, which means that if they choose to nano Guju, for an example, they can get the backline pretty easily, and it will be enough time for Sombra to build EMP. Crystal will be back, and the downside here is that if Finland chooses to aggro on, for example, Late Young or Guju, they don't have to deal with any Discord because China doesn't have any Zen, and they have the Discord themselves, so they have the damage, the higher damage output. They also have nano, so they can instantly heal up anyone basically, and they don't lose anything on fighting China here. I'm just gonna put on sound again.
I feel unstoppable.
Okay, so it seems like we have a bug with the sound, but that's fine.
Apagando las luces.
Okay, so if we go back here and look at what happens. So Guju gets nanoed. He tries to go for the backline, as mentioned. And in here, he doesn't go all in because he knows that if he goes all in, Sky can't heal him. And if we go to Sky's perspective, he's basically just focusing on healing Guju and Late Young. And he's not even contested here. However, let's see if Fraggy has his shield up. No, he used his shield. So let's see, where did he use his shield? So here's a problem. Fraggy uses the shield for Big Goose and Chaz, I think, so they don't take damage. And there's no real reason for Fraggy to use the shield here at all, because you want to save the shield for when they engage later and block the healing from Sky. So we play it out. And all they do here is just take damage. They don't really do anything. Crystal will be back as well. So Guju is about to die. They get a pick. So right now, in this moment, let's see, Crystal is still running back. So they are equal basically on point. However, Shaz is about to die, so he has to use his... where's Shaz? There's Shaz. So since Shaz is about to die, he has to use his trance, or he has to die, and if Shaz dies, they don't have any defensive ult, and they can't stay alive. However, he's hacked, so he can't use his trance, and that's basically how China wins this point. Right here. So if Shaz gets trance here, Crystal will... yeah. Wait, did Zen get nanoed? Let's see here. My bad if Zen got nanoed. Oh, actually, yeah. I see what you mean. It's Zen on. It wasn't a bug with the sound, I just upped the wrong one. So you meant Shaz got nanoed, yeah. It was for... Shaz got nanoed because let's see here. So if we go to Big Goose's perspective. Yeah. Shaz was nanoed because they wanted to build the trance on him, most likely. And it's basically it's an okay nano because it's essential to get the nano out before the EMP. So that's why he got nanoed. However, he got nanoed before he could use it, so it's you can't really do anything about it. And we have to think from the perspective of the players as well, so, since you can say in hindsight, you can say that using the nano is kind of wrong in that case, but it isn't, because if we look from Finland's perspective, they wanna save everyone and play on the point and use trans, but it's just unlucky that they couldn't. However, we go into the next point here, and we have Blade for Crystal. Playing Genji on second point is not that easy, because as you can see, there's a lot of space here and you have to use your shift often. So if you play Genji up here, for example, and you wanna control the flank here, if you see enemies walk up this area, then you basically have to double jump and shift over to reach them. However, I think that they will try and use Blade, and I'm not sure what China will try to dive. However, Finland, they have a lot of ults here to stop the snowball. Even a primal is enough to stop the snowball. They have EMP, they have Linkser, and they have trans as well, and bomb coming up. However, let's look at the ult sequencing here. So first up, you have Davin plus Zappis. That's ult number 1. Alt combo number 1. Then you have Fraggy plus Big Goose. Alt combo number 2. Whoops. And Linkser can combine with Davin as well, but it's not really any use. Linkser will most likely be using his ult alone, so he will be the third ult. And then you have Shaz to basically support, with the extra healing whenever Big Goose can't. And for Team China, they have their ult combo is Goju plus Late Young. That's the first one. Oops. And then the second one would be whenever Sky gets his nano up. He will get it pretty quickly. They can do nano plus Blade as the second one. And if they don't want a nano with Blade, they can still do, for example, if they have a beat but they don't have nano and they have Blade, they can support the Blade with beat and do the third combo that way. However, they need to do another fight basically until they can get these combos, since Finland is at 99 and China is at 60 to 70. So Leaf is just scouting. And yeah, you can see it right here. They don't really engage anything because they want to farm up the ults. They take some damage, so Sky can heal and Lucia can heal as well.
Meteor strike.
Let's see if Zappis used his boost here. Yeah, so the mistake you see from Zappis here, all he had to do was drop down the point. Like this, because now that he used his boosts to fly over here, well, he's stuck here now, so he can't really do anything. While China, they can just move up. So if Zappis hadn't used his boosts and just contest point, because if Leave wants to stay, he's gonna have to deal with Finland sending another person, or maybe they have Anna here shooting at him, or whatever. and it wasn't really needed for Zappis to boost there. Linkser is stuck here. He's getting killed because there's no matrix. And yeah, they can't really do anything here. Even if they have EMP and bomb, they can't do anything because boosts is on cooldown and they can't EMP unless they aggro from this angle or go all in here. Or if unless China moves in.
Meteor strike.
Linkser uses ult to escape, and that's all fine. Now they have positions again. However, they have positions, but China now has all ult combos they need. And Finland is basically on equal terms now. So if we go back to the point we were at before, in the first fight, here. So if Finland had been more aggro and cycled their ults, you wouldn't see China with full ult combos in the second fight. So China is really effective here with their positioning.
Meteor strike.
And they are playing pretty good here, like strategically, because Finland doesn't get any chance to punish them. And let's see how it plays out.
This.
So let's hear. Shiaz uses his trance to save Zappis because he was about to die. Frag uses Primal to kill the Diva. They nanoed on... China nanoed on Crystal, but he didn't have any opportunity for Blade, so... if we go back here... So, where's Sky? Sky is up there. Crystal is... Yeah, he was... He probably wanted to Blade, but he was EMP'd, so... That's why the Blade didn't come out. It looked like China was... what's it called? Pretty structured in the comms, but got denied. So, what can China do now? And what can Finland do? So Finland, they want to take positions again. And China, they want to make something happen with Blade and EMP. If they don't get anything going with the Blade, they might as well just switch out to Genji. Because Genji is really hard to attack with on second point if you don't manage to get value from the Blades. And it's, as I mentioned, really long distances you have to travel.
Defense matrix activated. Time to raise my APM. APM to number 10.
So they get a kill. Link's a switch to the Brig just to counter the Blade.
I'm feeling unstoppable.
Okay. So he dashes out because he couldn't find anything else. However, Fraggy and Davin were on the back line here. Yeah, Sky was already decided by Finland to be killed. So once Sky died, they have no more heals. Lucius isn't really enough to heal. And yeah, they just get picked up. Cleaned off. And let's see, they switch off... yeah, they switch, yeah. So they go for McCree Brig instead of Sombra Tracer. And it's, as I mentioned, because they couldn't do anything. We see again here Zarya with Winston and It's basically 3 tanks and 3 supports. And looking at what Finland did last round with Monkey, Zarya and D.Va, with Brigitte, it means that it must be some scrim meta in on the LAN server, you know, or it's basically the meta in the scrims that they are playing against each other, all the countries, and that's probably why we see the comp from both teams. Because if China hadn't practiced this comp, they wouldn't run it, and the same with Finland. And usually teams copy each other on LAN. And it's more of a flavor of the month, or, you know, it depends on mind games and all that stuff. And yeah, they're just back to Sombra Doomfist.
Apagando las luces.
Clean off with an EMP. China couldn't do anything there either. You know, you wanna just take some scrap fights or trash fights to build some ult. Let's put on this.
I'm coming for you all.
I think Lucio used beat there. Yeah, he used beat. I think he used beat because they were close on ult for Zarya there. So if they could stay alive and maybe get the grab, they could catch Winston or D.Va. And if we look here at how everyone is looking, let's see it like this. You can clearly see the target focus for Finland here. For China, I mean, for China. They want to kill off Fraggy. Let's just pick a different color. So they want to kill off Fraggy here. And you can see as well how Finland... Let's use blue. So Finland, everyone wants to protect. Let's see here. I think Big Goose is looking at Fraggy as well. So Fraggy is basically like a pop star in this moment. But what I want to show with this is that they know exactly what they want to do, and it's not really random fight or random targeting or anything. It's very structured in the way both teams play. They still focus for Fraggy, try and find him. And let's see here. So Sky, he kills people. And the reason for, if Fraggy would have been, let's see, is he discorded? If we go to Sky. Yeah, he's discorded Winston, so that's why they focus at him. It's really important to focus Winston when he's primaling, and if you have Discord, because otherwise he just kills off 1 or 2 people.
Meteor strike.
Good spread by China from the Linkser ult. I just want to go back here and look at what happened one more time. So China, they want to kill Fraggy first, so that Sky can get easy high ground and basically discard anyone. They know that since Linkser was here, he had to use his escape. And once he used his punch, D.Va is now free to push and try and, you know, take some space on point. They use the bubble. Yeah, I can see the point of Zarya now, because the Zarya protects the Diva and forces them to stay on point.
Nerf this. All systems.
Yeah. Let's move on to next point.
Initiating match.
And from how it looks, it's the key is to focus the Winston.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Let's see. Would you say that Sky was one of the better players on Shanghai Dragons? I can't judge Sky on the fly without thinking about every player. And if I wanna judge a player in Shanghai Dragons or any team, I would need to think about several weeks, if that makes sense, you know, of how they played. However, I think Sky definitely isn't bad by any terms. You can see it right here. Like, he's doing his job. He's fragging out on high ground. And I'd say he's one of the better players. Or was, yeah. However, it's a team game, so
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers
even if you're super good on Zen,
defend
you might not
objective
be able to showcase it unless you're enabled. And it depends entirely on what the playstyle is, what the strategy is, and so on.
60
Anyways,
seconds
China looks like
remaining.
they want to do the same thing as before. They want to farm Blade. And they only have one fight to do this since they have 60 seconds. So leaves, guys. He scouts as before.
30 seconds remaining.
Boosters engaged.
And they're playing pretty strictly here, but so is Finland as well. Finland is playing pretty good here. They aren't allowing China to get any damage done. But they can't really get any damage themselves either, because Linkser has only 27% on ult. And everyone is getting picked off once Nano Blade came.
Overtime.
So China, they don't have anything except... Well, they have a ton of ults actually.
30 seconds.
So going to next point. China has EMP with Bomb. Crystal switches to Brigade. They don't really need the Zen here, they just need to fight on point.
10 seconds remaining.
Apagando las luces. Apagando las luces.
Yeah. If we go back here, Shaz gets picked off, but let's see how. Yeah, this is pretty unfortunate
10 seconds remaining.
for Finland. I mean,
Apagando las luces.
they timed it pretty
Apagando
good.
las luces.
Like, this is the strength of China right now. I think they aren't doing any super complicated things. It's just that they are very, very coordinated. And they are patient as well, especially Leave.
Pass into the iris.
Mecha activated.
Shaz had a transfer, so if Shaz wouldn't have died, they would have probably been able to hold the point a bit more.
Initiating match. Attackers incoming in for battle. 5, 4,
The score,
3, 2,
I don't know the score. I haven't watched the game.
defend objective A.
So this is like a first reaction as well. Oh, my light died. 1 second. Okay. So Finland, they can play pretty aggro since they have Moira and Lucio. And the Brigade, so she can punish whoever gets close. And now I see what the strength is of Zarya here. However, they didn't really need to use the grab there. I think it was... let's go back and look at the grab. Yeah, I think Linkser was too zoned in on winning the fight and didn't notice that China had pretty much died, everyone except two. So, or maybe he wanted to switch to Zarya. Could have been that as well. I don't really know the comps, so I don't know. So Crystal uses EMP, they disengage pretty good. Means that Big Goose wasn't caught by the EMP. However, Zappis dies. So Zappis gets EMP'd. Yeah, he can't do much here with the EMP, but he positions himself to get hacked as well. He could have backed down a bit more. And since he gets hacked, he can't really escape and dies. Leave gets killed. And that's, as you can see here, this is the reason for Monkey having to die. Because you lock in 2 people, and the bomb wouldn't have gotten kills if it wasn't for the primal. Finland has a lot of time to work with, so it's pretty much you just reset it.
Meteor strike.
So China, they cycled the Doomfist ult, pretty standard. Shell switches from Moira to Ana. China does a better job at cycling the ults than what Finland did, because you can see here they don't have everyone on all ults, but Finland on defense, I think when it's not specific to Finland, of course, this is like in general for teams. When you see teams on defense getting stacked with everyone on ults, it means that they are too inefficient with proactive plays, basically. And you want to cycle the ults so that the attackers have to use 1 or 2 ults or more in order to counter your ult, because you burn the time for the attackers in that case. And using, in old school Overwatch, you would wait until you have 6 ults and then take a fight and cap the point, but you can't really do that anymore because you respawn and you also can hide and you play around ults better. And you gain ults much faster. No, much slower, I think, yeah.
Feeling powerful, and I'm not even angry.
A good kill there on Leave. Just want to back up to...
Feeling powerful.
So Zappis is... let's see, where is he? So Frag is taking the point. And... yeah, sorry for my light dying here again. So Fraggy takes the point, puts down Bubble, and if you look here at Zappis, he's matrixing for Linkster basically. Yeah, so they were all on board for Fraggy taking the point because he didn't matrix before he bubbled, which means that Zappis knew, you know, what was gonna happen.
And I'm not even angry.
However, he stays for too long and gets killed, and once Diva dies, it's pretty hard to get anything done.
Nerf this.
And I think the reason for him, the reason for Zappis, let's see here, turning like he did here. So you see,
Powerful. And
he
I'm
could have
not
turned
even
inside and kept backing. Let me use the penny here. If he would have kept backing, he wouldn't have kept the Discord on him, and he wouldn't have died probably. But I think the reason for him backing out like this is because the team here didn't back out, or they couldn't kite to the sides because of the Winston. And he does a ton of damage right here if he zaps everyone. And in my opinion, they would have been better off kiting. Let's see, what else does he do? So Fraggy and Big Goose are on the other side, which means that, let's see here, look at his cooldowns. So Big Goose, he has everything up. Shaz doesn't have anything. There's no matrix blocking the shots here, so they can kite. Linkster, he can survive this. Davin, he has shield up and he has heal. He uses his heal in the moment, which means that he uses the heal in order to save Zappis. And if we go to Fraggy, Fraggy doesn't have anything, so he can't really engage. They're not looking to engage in this moment, and they have 30 seconds left. However, Zappis has bomb and everything, and as you can see, I think he moved out because of I have no idea. I think it might be because he didn't want the Winston to zap everyone else, but he used Matrix while only Winston was shooting him, so it's probably more being stressed or overstressed in the moment, and that's why he made a mistake. Or stay. Then he has to use the ult just to get the new mech.
It's Hanu.
And once the mech is used, they want to use Deadeye because you want to catch off people that are escaping from the bomb. And honestly, it's more China doing smart plays here and just playing very patiently.
10 seconds remaining.
So if China wouldn't have been able to finish off Zappis, they would have
Victory.
they wouldn't have had as good chances of winning there. So let's sorry again here for the light. Let's see if you have any questions. Let's continue with Hollywood. I really like the China versus Finland matchup.
Initiating.
Is it better to play patiently with dive no matter what the DPS is? Yeah, I think playing patiently is something you have to do with any comp or any in any strategy basically, because I guess the issue in using the word patient, as I do for example, is because not everyone has the same definition of patient, and by patient, someone might misinterpret it as passive, you know, as in you don't take the shots or you don't play aggro or fast. However, like Leave, for example, he plays very proactive, but the way he waits for the right opportunity, it's not only patience, it's also, you know, teamwork, indirectly teamwork, because he's waiting for Goju and everyone else to get in position. And I would say, short answer, yeah, it's better to play patiently. And you don't really, with dive, if you put yourself in a bad position so that you get farmed, you know, you feed or you lose HP. If you lose mech or Winston, regardless of the DPS, your DPS can't do anything. And you want to make sure that you take smart positions instead of any position. However, it's different positions based on, if you're playing Tracer Soldier, for example, you're not playing the same as you do with, as you saw here with Brig and McCree. And if you're playing Genji Tracer, for example, you still play patiently, but the patient part of the fighting is before the fight instead of during the fight. Since, well, it's still before the fight with Leave as well, when it was on Sombra, but it's more the Winston looking for the engage instead of the Sombra looking for the engage. Anyways, let's continue here. Finland defending with similar comp to defense on Hanamura, but no Zen this time. And the reason for no Zen is because you want extra healing. You want to have some form of main heal, which is the Ana. And you can easily nano Winston, you can nano Diva. Let's see, where will they play? So if you look like this from top down, we can rule out fighting in this area. This is a no-go zone. And the reason for a no-go zone there is because Big Goose can't heal in the red zone. Let's see here. Big Goose can heal here, basically. And so basically this is the zone that Finland wants to fight in. Plus up here. Depending on... They obviously don't know what China will play. They can guess, but they don't know for sure. And playing up here depends on if China can contest the high ground. You don't want to extend further than this choke, because as this zone, behind the choke, you can't really heal with Ana. And China, they have Moira Lucio. They want to play aggro because of Moira, and they want to play together because of the AoE heal, which means that Leave, Gushu, and Crystal, and let's see here. I'm not sure if Leave will actually play with the team. They will most likely try to farm Blade and create a sideline for Late Young. Wait, Late Young might switch actually, but let's assume that, yeah, he's gonna switch. So Late Young is gonna be on Diva, because he's just using Hanzo to scan. Should have expected it. But they want to play Gushu with Late Young and Crystal, Leave in there as well. And yeah, they will play pretty close, like tight, I mean.
Defend objective A.
Okay, yeah, my bad. They switched to Ana. So Lucio does basic Lucio. He's just peeling for Anna, speeding Anna out whenever, and they don't want to engage past this. Let's see. Let's make it like this. They don't want to engage past the red line with anyone, basically. Leave is inside, but that's because he uses his punch. And because they don't have frag with them, they can't really survive staying outside. And they have to peel. They have to fall back. But before they fell back here, because they don't have fraggy with them, they can't contest this zone. Because of Genji and because of Doomfist, Winston and D.Va. So they have to play inside house and fall out here. I don't think Finland expected China to ignore fraggy, basically. China's playing really strict. Like, they aren't greedy at all, like to go for the backline. It's very similar to old Rogue, where they would play for the objective and they would focus on what's gonna win them the objective rather than what's gonna get them the kills. And getting the kills is obviously winning the objective as well, but yeah. Sorry, I'm just fixing my light here.
Apagando las luces.
Let's go back here. So Linkser is now on Widow, and Widow is a pretty good pick on Hollywood. So he used hook from here to jump up, I guess. And his sightline will be, yeah, they have, yeah, they want to try and control high ground, of course. And that's why Linkser is positioned on jail, because if he's positioned up here, Zappis and Davin don't make sense, basically, because they block the line of sight and they automatically scare off anyone that's on high ground. And he can also shoot down this lane, which means that Finland doesn't want to fight here. Finland wants the cart to push up a bit, most likely. And China, they seem to want to use Guju to push for the backline or for the Widow, and they seem to take positions for being engaged on rather than engaging themselves. Since you have pretty bad positioning right here for the Genji, Doomfist and D.Va to even get any engage going. Winston isn't really in position either to engage anything. And they probably just want cycle ults.
Apagando las luces.
So they get hacked, 4 people, can't do anything. And since the Lucia used beat, we can assume that China wanted to bet something on the fight, and which means that Finland is getting value right now. And if Finland can kill someone more, like Crystal, China has to retreat.
Meteor strike.
Nerf this. Game on.
I don't think China should keep fighting here. But since they do, it's really weird. I think they bet on Finland. Let's see here. So Guju uses his primal. They aim for the Widow, kill Widow. Ah, now I see. So they notice that the backline. They probably don't call this out in real time, but what I think the logic in taking the fight here is because both backlines here, they can't heal anyone that's in up here. And that means that Finland can't contest the cart. And while they can't contest the cart, China will just have reinforcements running in as they respawn. While Widow won't be up, Lucio and Anna, they will probably die. Or they assume that they will die. So even though they aren't getting any clean combos or anything, they play for the payload right now. And so let's see here. Sky dies with Nano up. Let's back up a bit. And you see here, Crystal was positioned for Blade. And as soon as Sky dies, let's see here. We can look at the priority in how everyone is taking the angles. So Gushiro keeps looking here, which means that he doesn't really, he's not the one in charge of protecting Sky. And it could also be that he's focused on shutting off this section for a Blade. And Crystal is looking there as well. He's probably looking where the shot came from. Leave is, I can't really see. I think your leave is just turning. Let's see here what else. So if we look at Finland, they have Nano. Fraggy had just used ult. They have EMP up. I'm not sure, but we can assume that Shaz and Fraggy, they're talking about using Nano and trying to get Primal again. They don't have any other Nano target because Zappis already has his ult up. Linkser doesn't really need Nano. Bigus doesn't really need Nano. Devin doesn't need Nano. So the reason for them looking at each other like this, you know, we can see that they talk about Nano. And once Crystal moves back, it's most likely because of the Anna dying and because Anna died, and the reason for, and also because we can see Crystal move back, we can assume that they bet on using Nano Blade in this fight rather than anything else. Which is, you know, if you have played a ton of games and you're a pro, you can assume this without having to look at the VOD like this. But they're playing safe in this case. And let's see here. I don't think Finland was expecting China to Blade in anyways. But it's very likely that China blades because they want to push the cart and sees that everyone is inside. So they didn't really get anything out of the ult. Zappis uses bomb for no reason. I think it's because he wants a new mech, but he doesn't really need this. Like, even if Zappis dies, Crystal has to respawn, he has to run back, Leaf has to respawn, and he has to run back. Late Young is low on HP, and Shaz can farm Nano from Zappis. But since Zappis uses ult, there's not much to do. Like, let's see here. So Anna even fires a shot to the D.Va mech, which means that Zappis didn't really plan the ult with the team. Otherwise, Shaz wouldn't have tried to heal the D.Va bomb. Let's take this question. When I'm watching these D.Va players so I can improve upon my own gameplay, what sort of things should I be looking for? You wanna know why D.Vas use why D.Va uses why D.Va players use their bombs. Just like in this case with Zappis. Let's just go to his perspective. So if you slow down he matrixes nothing basically. You wanna, when you look at it like this, and let's say that you wanna work on your matrix, and you see a D.Va player matrix something weird like late young that doesn't even fire, you wanna think about the decision process, and you wanna think, why did he matrix that? And then you wanna ask why again, and you wanna ask why again. So if we go back, speed up. So he's looking everywhere because he's trying to scout players. He's matrixing just in case something comes. And he expects usually D.Vas, you know, fire bombs. But I guess this is a preemptive matrix, and it's most likely expecting that the enemy D.Va will fire bombs. So what you can take from this lesson is that you have to be careful with what you use your matrix with, and it's all okay to use it preemptively like this. It's not bad, because what if there's some spam coming? You know, there's a reason for doing this, and in this case it just happens to be no spam. And now that you have, let's say, 1/4 less of matrix, you have to keep that in mind. And then in this moment, Zappis has to plan how he wants to use his matrix. And if we keep going, a D.Va duel, for example, is the D.Va that shoots first and, you know, takes damage first, essentially, is the D.Va that's gonna lose in the duel. But this is not a 100% duel, because there's teammates and so on help. And so you see now that the late young has his bombs up. If matrix would have been depleted in this case, the China push here would have killed someone in the backline. And let's see here. Zappis has his boost up. So what can you learn from a D.Va player looking at this perspective when there's 1/4 of matrix left and the only ability up is boost and ult? So we know that Zappis is out of position right now, so he has to use his boosts, or he has to, well, if he doesn't get, let's see here, he can't really do anything to kill anyone. And he's singled out here because his teammates are being careful with the blade. And this isn't only Zappis, of course, this is a team thing. So because Team Finland expected the Winston D.Va to push in with Crystal, they peel back, and that's why Zappis is left behind, because he just tries to shoot whoever is in the back, of course. And there's no real use to matrix when you don't have any matrix left, and it's already too late to move in. So you want to avoid getting killed in this scenario, and you want to use your boosters. You want to move up here, because Kushu can't really use his ult. I mean, he can't really use anything because he was hacked. And same with Leetian, who lost his mech. And if we go to his perspective here, now he uses boosts when it's already too late. And this bomb, this is the type of bombs you should avoid to use. And it's really common across any OWL game. Not as much now as before, like in stage 1 and 2, but shooting a bomb straight up like this is super easy to avoid. Like, are you gonna kill the Lucio here? No, you're never gonna kill the Lucio. You're never gonna kill the Winston, and you're never gonna kill Leetian here. And all you have to do is basically get to the side of this cart and press Q. You can hide here, press Q, control, and just crouch. And this bomb will not get anyone except get a new mech. And even if you get the new mech, they can kill you before you get the mech. And all you end up doing is wasting your bomb. And the bomb is one of your most expensive tools to zone with, for example. And let's say that you use the bomb to zone the enemies from the cart. Even if you zone them from the cart, you have people up here ready to contest the cart. So you have to be aware of what's going on before you use your let's see here. Yeah, before you use your bomb. So
Suiting up.
let's just back off a bit more. So to sum it up, sorry for mixing up the
Nerf this.
timer. To sum it up, you want to plan what you're gonna do after the bomb before you use the bomb. Because while you're traveling up, even if you're traveling up, let's say that you're using your bomb like this and you shoot it like this. Meanwhile you're traveling, you want to think about what's your next move in this moment. Because what's something that's normal to do as a D.Va player is that when you travel with your bomb and you're consciously thinking about when you press Q, you're not going to change anything by expecting what to kill or assuming what you're going to kill or thinking, etc., or paying attention to the kill feed while you're traveling, and it's almost a second of thinking time. I'm not sure how much you could make use of that, but you want to be looking and analyzing the decisions of a D.Va player, bots like these, for your own gameplay, I mean. So yeah, Finland, they don't have any D.Va bomb, they don't have Matrix, Primal, they only have EMP this time.
Be right back.
While China, they only have Nano, and they have bomb coming up as well.
Apagando las luces.
Looks like a scrap fight. Yeah. Actually, it's not a scrap fight. Or well, it is a scrap fight, but when you do trash fights or scrap fights, as I call them, you don't wanna do anything special more than maybe bully off a Winston like this. If you end up dying
Apagando las luces.
or getting hacked, you just peel back. Let's see here. So they peel back.
You look tired.
Let's see here. You can clearly see how everyone focuses Fraggy, and they don't do anything. This is a trash fight, but what my point is that they aren't thinking of the trash fight as normal Western teams are, where you just go in and you do whatever, and then you maybe fall back or something. But here everyone has focus on killing the Winston, and once they kill the Winston, suddenly they can do whatever they want. And Finland, they have to back off, and they have to wait for Fraggy to respawn. And yeah, it's unlucky for the stun. Let's see if he got booped down, actually. I want to see if he dropped or if he got booped down.
Apagando las luces.
Yeah, so... yeah, this is a bad thing by Finland. They drop down with the tanks here. And by dropping down there, Linkser is basically doing nothing right now. Davin is doing nothing as well because he can't really move around here. He's gonna die if he moves to the, let's see. Sorry again for the light. So if Davin moves like this, he's gonna get killed right here. Or he might get killed. If Big Goose drops down, he's gonna end up getting killed as well. If Shaz pushes up, he's gonna get farmed by the Zen or killed, because he has discard on him right here. So if Finland doesn't go greedy here and try to kill the Diva, I guess the call is killing Diva. Let's see here. It looks like there's a difference. Yeah, if you notice, Zappis was looking to Gushu while Fraggy was looking at Diva. Big Goose was looking at Gushu or someone else. So it's probably miscommunication, I would say. I'm not sure. There's never a 100%, you know, right or wrong thing. It's only bad and good things. No, he didn't EMP the Mega because the people on the elevator, they didn't get hacked. So if EMP would get hacked, you'd also see it. But if EMP would be hacked, the people on the elevator would be hacked as well. So Guju is just buying time. And since he was hacked, yeah, he's forced to fall back. So they trade nanos. Nano is used on a Linkser, I think. No, on Fraggy. Actually, let's play with this back.
Feeling powerful.
So, Crystal is having the time of his life here. He has an easy sightline. Linkser is forced to back, like he can't do anything about the Winston in his face. So by Guju being hacked, all he has to do is stand in the doorway. And he's not gonna die anyways because there's only Lucio, Anna and Widow on him. And he can just play for the corner. While Fraggy, let's see here, he gets slept. Which means that it's Zappis is positioned here. Let's see here. I want to know why Zappis is positioned where he is.
Get through this.
So Zappis is using Matrix. He's contesting cart. Ah, he's stunned. Yeah.
Feeling powerful.
Ah, yeah. I see what's happening now. So you do as well, of course. So he uses boosts to try and go for the Winston, which means that Linkser probably, or someone else in the backline, called out Winston on me, while Fraggy and Davin went in. And if Zappis can't save anyone in the back, like he can't really do anything with Matrix there anyways, since Winston is the only one getting damage in when Crystal can't shoot. And if he would have walked forward with Fraggy and Davin, Fraggy wouldn't have been slept, and then he would have been able to go on Crystal. But that's like easy to say in hindsight, of course. We have to think of, again, how it was in the perspective of the players. So in this moment, he watches him sleep.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
And you notice here, No one is going for the Widow. Absolutely no one. I don't even think Zappis is aware of the Widow in this moment, because he gets headshot by her. And Fraggy goes for the Brig. Yeah, because Brig was killing everyone. It's pretty much the setup. The fault is in the setup before the fight. So let's see here. Because Fraggy died before, they have this bad setup. They're forced to be this far back because there's no way they can contest cart without dying. Diva will lose her mech if she contests, and if Fraggy wouldn't have died over here, they wouldn't be in this situation. And because... Okay, so let's look. If Zappis doesn't use Matrix on Winston that does nothing, and would play with Fraggy here, they would make use of Nano, and they would maybe have a better chance to win. So let's take I'm gonna take questions after third point. For this. Okay, so they just clean up. On third point, to switch to Ryan Zarya, which is just easier to play in this zone. I mean, in the zone, because of the narrow main here. So they do bomb and they save stun to stun Fraggy. They don't get anything though. Here's another bomb that... So Zappis doesn't have to go all in here, and he simply overstays. Like, he has no matrix and overstays and then ends up being killed. And you know that it's his fault because everyone else in the team, if we do it like this, so you see everyone else in the team is thinking about these two. He's just blocking the Widow. But why do you need to block the Widow if Brig is taking cover? If Zen... So, yeah. Let's take it like this instead. Okay, the bomb plays a big role. So we have the bomb here. And the bomb will kill anything that's in, let's say, this area, plus this. And there's a Widow here. Let's pick yellow for her. So if Widow stands up here or here, she can shoot down this lane. Actually, like that. So if Widow can shoot here, why do you need as Zappis to contest the Widow when your Zen is behind cover, Brig is behind cover, Frag is behind cover, and Lucius behind cover, and Davin uses bubble? Well, it means that they haven't planned this out, they are just playing on the fly, most likely. Or, well, the cover is planned out, because if everyone in the team does it, then it's most likely called out in comps and so on. But it's very likely that Zappis didn't notice this. I'm not putting tons of blame on him, but I think it's really inefficient of him to use Matrix on the Widow here, because he's full HP, he has beat, he has armor, he doesn't have to Matrix. He's probably unaware of the beat and everything else, what's going on. And sorry for my light again. Yeah, so another bomb here. Just using the bomb because he is dead. And what does this bomb achieve? Well, you're not gonna kill the Diva here. You're not gonna kill Sky either. Well, Sky might be dead if he doesn't back out in time. Let's see, can he back out? He can probably crouch. Leave is not gonna die. No one else is gonna die. So it's basically a wasted bomb. And they become 5v6. Sky got killed. Yeah. Not much you can do as Sky there. And it's a 5v5 now instead. However, they don't really need Sky in this moment.
Why are we stopped?
Let's look at the ults here. So they use Primal without anything. Doesn't need anything else, but they have Trance up. They just play pretty safe with Gushu and everyone else.
The payload is approaching its destination. Огонь по готовности.
Pass into the iris.
Time to raise my APM. Routing.
Let's see if Leitian could have eaten that.
Taking off. APM dual level up.
Огонь по готовности.
Ah, he was eating, but Davin was on the other side of the car.
Time to raise my APM. Routing power to
وريهم قوتك.
Pass into the iris.
defense matrix activated.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Yeah, they can't get much here. That shatter is a bit questionable. A second.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
I'm gonna
So,
have to shoot you down.
if we pause here, what's there to kill? Well, there's a Winston. Does the Winston have jump? He has jump in 3 seconds, which means that he's killable. Is it gonna be any useful to kill him? Let's see here. They have leave, just respawning, so they won't be able to fight on point. And if we go to Frag's perspective, yeah. Let's see here. So the Shatter is almost max range on Late Young. And it doesn't kill the Winston. They probably wanted to kill the Diva here. Because if they kill the Diva, China has to fall back.
Nerf this. All systems checked out.
So they lose Diva mech from bomb, or due to bomb. Wait here.
Nerf this. Sniper, don't get caught. Systems checked out.
Yeah, Bigus was unfortunate with not having beat for the bomb there. And once they have 2 down, they can't really hold it as much because China has trans and also Discord up.
Routing power to forward shield. Routing nerf this.
Yep, that's it for that before Finland's attack. Do you think that the EMP could have been executed better than, because if he jumped off the side, then he'd EMP. Yeah, you're talking about the one that was here, right? Yeah, if he would have been more to the edge so that he covers anyone that hugs the wall, it would have been better, but he only got Winston and Diva hacked. And as Winston and Diva, when you're attacking on this side and you're standing on, if you're Winston and Diva right here, you don't need your abilities to survive. You just simply drop down. And the EMP could have been a lot more efficient if you just was a bit more patient with it.
5, 4, 3.
Let's take the rest of the question. 1 second. So other than Fury, what diva should I try and watch in my free? You should watch Space. Obviously, you can't watch with the spectator client when it comes to Seagull and so on. But watch Seagull, Space, Fury. Who else? Those are the divas that come to mind. You don't need a ton of divas. Like, select 2 to 3. You don't need everyone that I mentioned. Poco and Seagull for bombs, for example. Fury as well. Space. You want to look at Space for... Yeah, Meko as well. Space and Meko and Fury are pretty good when it comes to the fundamentals. Poco and Seagull are pretty good for the bombs. And keep in mind that the bombs are usually pre-practiced, you know. The way that Seagull and everyone else would practice bombs is you enter a custom game and you set every setting to having instant bombs, you know, all the time, and you just sit there and you shoot bombs all the time until you find the perfect angles, and then you memorize the angles and you learn basically 10 to 20 bombs for every map, both on attack and defense. And you want to make like a universal bomb. Yeah, you can copy the bombs, and you also want to learn how they, you know, what their type of bombs is. Like, if you imagine different artists in music, for example, they have their sound. And Poco, for example, he likes to do sliding bombs. And Seagull likes to do sliding bombs as well. But you don't have to do sliding bombs, because if you look at this, for example, a sliding bomb is... we just have to pick a good example. So if you would shoot a bomb from here, just as an example, if you shoot it into the wall, it's gonna slide up a bit until it's gonna slide up a bit until it slides off the wall, and then it can move out like that, and, you know, land on wherever you aim, basically. That's a sliding bomb. But you can also make your own style by, if you, let's say that you're not into sliding bombs, well, you can do bombs that go like this, you know, over something, and lands like that. Or let's say that you're playing in the choke and the enemy is playing in the choke. So here's your team, here's the enemy team, and if you want to do a cheesy bomb, for example, what you can do is, let's pick yellow. You fly forward, then you fly backwards a bit, and what this does, and when you fly backwards, before your flight stops, you know, you don't want to use up every boost. You turn around and you simply lob the bomb. Sorry again for the light. And what this does is that when you, let's do numbers here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is basically steps. So the enemy will back off in 1 and in 2, because when you're flying back, they might be thinking, okay, Diva is not gonna bomb. So they might walk forward, and then you surprise them and you turn and you shoot your bomb. And you can do tons of variations. It just depends on whatever you like the most, and then you find the strengths basically that you have. And the strengths is basically how you think in the game. And if you're really good at predicting where your sliding bombs are gonna land, well, keep doing sliding bombs. If you're really good at predicting what your bomb will look like if you lob it up or shoot it up into the air. Then you can do more of those, and you can shoot over objects, or you can shoot really far bombs or really short bombs, or you can time them so that they land when, so that they land on specific angles and such. And yeah, so you don't have to copy the bombs exactly. Okay, so no more questions. Let's go.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Let's look at the comp. So by this time, it's 3:41. So China can press tab. They can watch what Finland has. So because they have Orissa, they want to play around this corner, or they want to play here in this zone, basically. Because if Finland comes here, and if they shoot towards the shield, obviously it blocks Crystal. It blocks the exit. It's positioned so that it blocks the exit here, or the door for the low ground entry. And if Finland rotates like this, they simply place the bomb, the shield before the cart, or they can place it behind the cart, or up here. If the further up they place it, the harder it's gonna be to defend the flanks. If they place it here, they can shoot this angle basically, and they cover. They don't really cover the high ground, but they cover for the low ground, and everyone else can just play around here. They drop down or something, They don't have to drop down, because if they do, if the people up here drop down, it's gonna be suicide, or if people up here. And Finland, yeah, they just wanna farm blade and EMP. Obviously they want to deny high ground as well, but they can't let Orissa farm. So let's see here. I don't agree with the dive onto Junkrat, because Finland knows, or they should be able to know, that they have a Junkrat. So they don't have a diva with them. So here's the thing. Zappis is protecting Shaz. But Shaz is basically... he's destined to die up here, because the diva will go for him. Unless they assume that diva will be reacting to the dive here and try to peel back. But if you're the diva on China, and you look at the comp the Team Finland has, you realize that there's nothing you can peel for, or your matrix isn't doing much, because you already have Junkrat, you have traps, you have concussive, not concussive, you have the explosive mine, and he's even shooting out a trap here. So you don't really have to move back here, and you can go for the Ana. So Finland should have been able to predict that as well, but they probably assumed that the diva wouldn't be going for Shaz. And because Zappis was protecting Shaz, there's nothing much Finland can do against the Junkrat when diving. So what China is doing essentially is thinking, they're not thinking what the counter is to Finland only, they're thinking what Finland might counter them with, and then counters the counter. Oops.
Unstoppable.
So Lynx got killed by the trap there. Pretty unlucky. He used Nano Blade there, so they should have been able to set up a better win condition. Or better fight formation. So Crystal is gonna farm up his Deadeye pretty fast.
Apagando las luces.
Yeah, they spotted out Xander for sure.
Cease your resistance.
They found Lee.
Nerf this.
That was a questionable bomb from Leighton as well. I think it was just to get the mech. And he didn't really have any good plan for the bomb. So if we look here, Late Young is taking care of the flanks. Yeah, the shield is positioned so that Devin can shoot in. What else? So I think by looking at it like this, Zappis, Linkser, Fraggy are looking at one target, which means that they are probably the ones talking the most. I'm not sure. Just interesting to think about it.
Gotcha.
The bomb there was,
Stop.
I think it was just to kill the baby. So China is gonna have to switch, and they do. They switch to Leave is gonna go dive. No. Yeah, because Crystal is the one playing Genji, so Leave shouldn't be on the Genji there. So Linkser picks Widow to counter Widow. Normal thing. Okay, so let's draw out the fire lines here. So Crystal can shoot like this. Linkser can shoot like this, sort of. He's peeking Crystal there, but he's also very limited in how he can shoot. Actually, I should have a different color. Let's do black. So Linkser is pretty limited on how he can shoot. Which means that if Crystal keeps his aim on Linkser and if Zappis doesn't Matrix, Linkser will most likely lose the duel here. We don't know yet if who is the one that peaks the first, but I assume it's Crystal. And if, let's say that Linkser is dead, Crystal has a lot more to shoot on than Linkser has, unless Linkser moves to this, like to the left here. But even if he moves to the left, he can only shoot on the Diva. And if we look then, oh yeah, okay, so Crystal was on low ground all the time. Okay, so Crystal is actually the one with the less opportunity to shoot, which means that Linkser wants to counter Crystal, meanwhile Crystal wants to play safe. And it makes a lot of sense actually. Those like hero icons are a bit tricky sometimes. And in this fight, let's see here, use 2 ults on China. Finland uses B to counter the bomb and the nano. what can Linkser do here? He's most likely gonna have to wait for the bomb to die to finish, and then he's gonna play aggro most likely, because he can't do anything from this position because he's gonna get easily targeted by Winston and D.Va, and he can't get Skye or Zen. Yeah, so he was killed. Frag is overextending here. He shouldn't try and survive, because even if he survives, Late Young is not gonna let him go. And yeah, you see here, he has to use Primal when all he had to do was die. And now the Primal doesn't get any use. Zappis gets 1 kill. Zen uses trance to survive. And they are equal, but they have armor as well. And yeah, I think that if Fraggy would have died there instead of trying to stay alive, he would have, even if he would have died in the spawn there, he would have made a lot more use of the Primal. And I think they tried to justify the Primal by switching tanks here. There's no reason for them to switch tanks. They have 40 seconds left. 0 charge on Linkser, 0 charge on Fraggy, and they have a D.Va that used her bomb just recently. So they want to go goats, but they keep Zen because he has trance. And this is most likely justifying a bad decision as a team decision. I'm not sure who calls out the swap, but you would have been better off keeping the Winston even if you don't have ult, because Linkser, he can go for Tracer, he can go for Genji, can go for not Genji of course, and not Tracer. Tracer can work, but he can't go Genji because of Leave being on Brig, and Devin is on Brig, so it's most likely that they want to play with the Reinhardt, but this is like recovering from bad decisions, and if they would have played the last fight smart, they wouldn't have to switch to this. So what can China do in this case? Before getting that kill, of course, but wait. So Shaz dies here.
60 seconds remaining.
Let's watch how he dies. Yeah, so Shaz has to be pocketed basically if he wants to be able to use his trance. And here's why you don't pick Reinhardt into Winston and D.Va on second point, because you have no high ground control. And without the high ground control, you're gonna end up getting focused. They just have to drop down on you, and they still have their jump, they still have their boost, so they can get out safely. Well, you can't. And he's forced to use his trance, but he probably didn't expect the damage. And Devin got a bubble that was let's see here. Yeah. So Shaz was already inside when Linkser was shooting at someone, D.Va, and he missed the timing to bubble Shaz. So Shaz couldn't get into safety and take the mini. And they probably betted on Shaz getting the bubble there.
30 seconds remaining.
So China's not making the plays here. They are simply punishing every mistake that Finland does. So by having wall hack, they have an easy engage.
Nerf this.
Pass into the iris.
And so Zappis died in here. Was a good bomb actually, yeah.
I'm back in the fight.
وريهم قوتك.
Feeling powerful, and I'm not even angry.
And honestly, if
Pass into the
Finland would have been more calm in the fights around here and Fraggy there, they would have so much more chances to win. Oh, better chances, I mean not more chances. Questions if there's any. And then do the last map. How many are here? Oh, there's only a few here.
Initiating match. Ready.
Okay, so let's look at the comp. So China plays goats, Finland plays goats, mirror comp. In mirror comps, it comes down to who gets the first pin on Reinhardt, or first stun on Reinhardt and so on, and ends up killing the Reinhardt first. And you focus more on mind games rather than countering with plays and so on. Fraggy charges out. They won't have charge for a while. So China is automatically winning the positioning here. Let's see why. Okay, so Fraggy scouts out everyone. There's no reason for Finland to back off like that. They give up the point basically by falling back. They can just speed. They don't have to speed, of course, but they should speed in this case so that they get better positions instead of losing the choke here. Let's take a better color here. And you don't want to lose the choke here either. So China basically has the advantage. Let's see here. Chaz is taking a lot of damage.
The objective is unaffected.
Okay, so now the speed. And you can notice here that China get the point for free because Finland chose to take the engage from white. And the kill on Diva there, it's gonna win them a lot of time, or like buy them a lot of time. But if China can out-rotate them, well, now China lost the fight. So if Guju wouldn't have charged in, they would have been able to wait until they have a mech again, because they can stall for some time, and maybe they can get 30% or something instead. So all Finland has to do here is play for the chokes. So Guju is stunned.
وريهم قوتك.
Use Nano to
огонь по
let him
готовности.
survive.
Nerf this.
Yeah, this is an auto win. So the play was to bomb, and if Reinhardt is in the way, you just charge the Reinhardt. But the bomb was placed in the middle of the grab, so it was a good placement. That didn't require a charge.
огонь по готовности.
Into the iris.
China shouldn't have used the grab there, because you can even see the animation, you can hear the animation. So the grab was most likely
огонь
a
по
reaction,
готовности.
and he probably
Pass into the iris.
was so he was so set on the play to use grab that it was simply too hard to predict the Reinhardt, and then it's too much to process essentially. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense to use grab there. So Guju needs to win this fight, otherwise Finland has won the round basically. And so Finland has a grab coming up, they have beat. China, they have shatter, they have bomb coming up, they have pretty much everything except grab. So they look for a shatter, and Davin has bubble, I think, yeah, he has. So he's saving bubble, Time was saving his shield as well. So they're spreading out like this because they want to bait the shatter. And so the way they bait the shatter is by not using bubble on Zarya, not using shield on Taimo, Fraggy being in the way so he can see. He can't really see if Guju is looking like he's gonna use shatter, but if Guju calls for the Lucio to speed up, they'll speed up, and they will speed up like this and then use shatter here probably. And as they use the shatter, you can see the hammer going down. Taimo will then pull up his shield, and Davin will use his bubble, and then they have negated a shatter for free with basic abilities basically. And there you see it. Davin used his bubble on Fraggy, and he expected Fraggy to block for himself, but Fraggy didn't. And I think the thing is that Fraggy wanted to swing at the same time. So if Davin would have used his bubble on himself before, Guju would use stun, because they wouldn't speed up for nothing. He wouldn't have been stunned here, and Fraggy could have kept swinging. Meanwhile, Taimo just moves up as well, and everyone moves up, and Big Goose is on the side here. So everyone has beat as well, so you want to fight with the beat. Zappis is slept here, but there's nothing he can do about that.
Nerf this.
огонь по готовности.
And now that the bomb is coming in,
Mecha activated.
yeah, they have to fall back. They used grab. Ah, okay, so let's see.
Nerf this.
Ah, okay, so they used bomb here, and Devin probably didn't expect that he would need to back off. So let's see, does Big Goose have speed? He doesn't. So if Big Goose would have had speed, then they could have used grab and, fight here. Zappis would probably be waking up soon. However, since they didn't have speed, and Devin used grab anyways, they can't really do anything about the grab, and they are forced to back off.
огонь по готовности.
they get a kill, but even if they get the kill, it's not 100% securing their win. So if Sky, yeah, Sky was pretty greedy, not greedy, but like bad position. So maybe they could have kept fighting. They blocked the shatter as well. Man, just like this turning off too much. I think it's broken. Thank you for noticing it. I just mixed them up.
Time to raise my APM.
Let's back off here. So it's let's see here. They have soldier with triple support and double tank. China is Farah. Most likely, they're most likely expecting China to play Farah here. That's the only thing we can assume for the soldier here. So you're forced to play inside with supports and yeah, play cover. Leitian got booped. Good boop there. Bought a lot of time for them.
The objective is now active.
And now they switch to goats. And the reason for Anna, I guess they favor Anna in general, but Anna negates the soldier really well here because his heal is completely gone with the nade. And they want to go white because it's just easier to get the point that way. So Finland does a great job stalling the point. They can't fight on point here with the dive comp. So they simply just have to roll with it. Using the trance there means that they probably want to switch Zen to something else. Yeah, so they dropped the ult on Fraggy. Primal isn't really useful if you're gonna switch the whole comp. Shaz, however, because he used trance, he should well, I guess like he can still be useful on Zen, but there's no need to use trance last fight if you're gonna switch like this, because now you only have the Lucia bit. Or well, you got some percentage, it's fine.
Огонь по готовности.
So good rotation versus the bomb. Zapis keeps getting slept on D.Va. So in this moment, they predict that they have Grav, so he's probably looking to... yeah, he's looking for information from, let's see here, Fraggy, I guess, for when the Grav is used, and then they want to time it. Yeah, so as soon as he sees Reinhardt out, it's assumed that the Grav is gonna come out. He eats the Grav, good job. But he ends up with no Matrix. And China can assume that he has no Matrix because you want to use everything for the Zarya there. So, let's see here. He has boost up and uses Matrix. No Matrix. He shouldn't be staying here. Like, he doesn't win anything on staying here because he's giving Zarya a ton of energy. No, not energy, but ult charge. And the reason for him getting slept here is because it's more obvious than a Reinhardt pinning you and... no, I don't know. It's just really obvious here that he has no matrix and he's just overextending. So it's an easy sleep. So when he slept, China just ignore him and go all in. So again, China isn't doing any crazy plays or anything. They're just playing safe and they aren't overextending. They aren't passive either. Instead, they are making plays like they tried with Reinhardt, but sometimes they don't work out. They don't do anything. The Zarya grab got eaten. However, they aren't rushing things and just spamming comms, go, 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 etc. Not saying that any other team does either, but it's visible that they play safe and calm.
Into the iris.
وريهم قوتك.
Are you ready? Here I come! Hammer down!
Огонь по готовности.
So, Leave had another grab before. That's pretty quick, yeah. Again, it's because Zappis was giving him energy. No, not energy, ult charge, my bad.
Into the iris.
I'm not sure what the goal for Zappis is, because Fraggy dies more than he gets damage done. I guess they want to get behind the shield and cut off people with Matrix.
وريهم قوتك.
So Latian gets killed there.
огонь по готовности.
That's okay, Shatter. You don't want to let the baby escape, and it's 99% for China. Yeah, a bit unlucky they couldn't clean them up there.
Score 1-1. Ready for battle. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
China playing Hammond is probably because of goats. Winston isn't that useful. Oh, well, he is useful, but maybe they just like Hammond as a switch up because they want to be mobile, and pretty much only Sky is the one that's hard to keep alive. It's very likely that they just play around mobility and flanking all the time. So Sky is playing max range essentially.
Justice.
So that's not bad, but good focus by Finland to react to the barrage. Late Young is being focused. That's really good as well. So China is not getting much done at all here.
Pass into the iris.
And
Let's see here. How did Taimo die? So they're moving in. They have all beat. Beat is being used.
Justice.
So Taimo's really low from the barrage. Ah, yeah, that's why. He's really low from the barrage. And yeah, couldn't be protected. Yeah, that's unlucky. China does a good job stalling this, but they aren't gonna win it. Mostly because we spoil it for ourselves. So they clean up. So the moment Finland entered the point was at 16% for China, so stalling 40% is pretty good. And maybe that's why they picked the Hammond, because they want to win the first fight and keep stalling. My bad. Sorry. Was trying to slow down. So it's a bit indecisive here, really clearly. Half of the team is going coast, and they want to go point, but the other team, other part of the team is focused here, and you can see that Reinhardt, he was walking and then he was turning, and that's like a sign of just indecisiveness, or like being indecisive. So Late Young had to use a lot of Matrix. Shy is really late now. And the call is probably go point, but not which direction of the like yeah, left or right basically. And they are forced to use trance to get to point safely, which is a huge mistake on China's part.
Nerf this.
So let's go back here. And if we look here, sorry for the sound, I know it's ticking. So Shaz can discard leave probably, and they can't kill the Zarya Diva matrices. Zeppis gets picked, and then they just die one by one. Obviously because they can't do anything about the bomb and so on. I think Zeppis tries to flank too much with Diva. He doesn't have to be that aggro because it doesn't help the backline and frontline and so on. They have to compensate in other ways. So they speed, shatter, and bomb, which is pretty good. Yeah, good cleanup here. So China has only one more fight. And China has... yeah, they... I think they expected Finland to be closer, and that's why they grabbed in the... So the reason they grabbed in the corner is because they didn't want to have the bomb eaten. The grab eaten. And yeah, simply couldn't hold against the bomb there. Not much you can do in Finland's position when the point is lost in this case, because you need to, touch point and you're getting stalled and staggered and so on.